Welcome back to another episode of It's Jade. And on today's episode, we look into the fact that Don Lemon, after handing off to anchor Chris Cuomo on CNN, tore into the president about the fact that Democrats cannot get the votes that they need to pass the Freedom to Vote Act after the final count on Wednesday came to 49 to 51. Of course, 60 votes are required to pass this particular legislation in the Senate. But again, they only needed about 9 more Republicans to come over. One particular Republican from Alaska ended up changing her vote at the last minute because she feels that the voting bill I think it was made in memory of Representative John Lewis. She feels that that is more important than this particular act. So with Don Lemon tearing into the president, he also went into the fact that the president and the Democrats are not trying hard enough to get the Build Back Better legislation passed after that was the main or one of the main running points in his election. Now, as far as the Freedom to Vote Act, what exactly is in this particular act? Now, the Freedom to Vote Act would allow automatic and same-day voter registration and no excuse mail voting. It would give states flexibility in implementing some provisions like early voting and make Election Day a holiday. It would also seek to protect federal election records and insulate nonpartisan state and local election officials from undue interference. As you can see, or as some of you guys may know about the investigation into how the previous president, Donald Trump, won the election. After a probe, it was saying that Russia did interfere in the election. So this particular act is to help this from happening in the future. It doesn't matter whose party it's on, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter. Now, Chuck Schumer, who is the majority leader of the Senate, okay, he's a Democrat from New York. He stated that the bill was a balanced and common sense proposal to protect the right to vote from restrictive state laws. Okay. Now, another thing as well in the Freedom to Vote Act, there's another thing that says it ensures as well at least 2 weeks for all federal elections and allows voters to present a broad set of identification cards for in-person voting. This is the particular bill that is continuously held up in the Senate. But also going back to Don Lemon's point to Chris Cuomo, whenever he was passing it off to him late Wednesday night about the Build Back Better agenda. This particular agenda is important because Biden ran his presidential platform based off of this huge, ginormous bill that would result in about $3.5 trillion worth of funds to be invested in this. Now, what's to be invested in this particular bill? It would be free community college, or at least access to free community college 2 years of, as well as a initiative for preschool for all children, which could end up saving the modern or the average family about $13,000 a year, because we all know childcare is expensive, as well as focusing on expanding Medicare services and Medicaid, working on lowering prescription drug cost, as well as tax cuts for families with children and childcare support, and also to include 12 weeks of paid family leave for majority of people, if not all. And there also was a letter written by the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, and she goes into detail about how she is pro paid family leave. I believe she's even advocating for possibly a year. So I will post that letter that she wrote in this particular video, but also in the Build Back Better agenda. We have housing investments as well as tax cuts for electric vehicles and other pretty much climate change, other climate initiatives. Okay. So in his pretty much rant to Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon pretty much talks about how the administration is notorious for holding press conferences or important things that need to be said to the public in the middle of the day. While
you don't think we're going to cover it? If you stop holding events at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when people are at work or in traffic, and start holding them when people are actually at home and watching and paying attention, then maybe you may be able to change the narrative.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that would be a smart come up.
But that's why we always say it is the bully pulpit. It is the biggest pulpit when you have the White House, when you are the leader of the Senate, when you are the leader of the House of, you are the speaker. When you speak, we listen. When you say, I'm going to have a press conference, I'm inviting the media to do this, I'm going to actually go into the press room with Jen Psaki, I'm going to show up there sometimes and surprise people. And guess what? I'm going to pull the nation in with my narrative. I am going to get their attention. I'm going to make sure I have their attention. I'm going to tell them what is in the bill. I'm going to tell them what I'm selling that is going to help them and everybody in red America and everybody in blue America and all Americans. I'm not just going to sit back and expect the news media to do it for me, because it's not our job to sell the narrative. It's our job to discuss what you are doing, and yes, part of what's in it, but it's not our job to sell your agenda for you. They are not selling their agenda. And the only reason that I am so enthusiastic about this is because our democracy is on the line. And I don't want America to lose its democracy. I don't want America to be a country of minority rule. And I don't want America to be a place where black and brown people like me, whose ancestors fought and died for the right to vote, are restricted from going to the voting booth. That is the most un-American thing to do. So I have this platform that I have now, and I'm speaking very passionate about it. Democrats, get your butts in gear and get passionate about saving this damn country. You're not doing it. You're weak. You are weak. You are weak. That's it. Good night.
People are at work or pretty much going to or stuck in traffic. So his monologue is based off the fact that if they would stop holding press conferences at this time, then they would be able to get the American people on board to help push possibly their local elected officials and things like that to get this done. He also goes into, more detail about the fact that the people who helped get this current administration into office need this Freedom to Vote Act passed because it was black and brown voters, black and Latino voters, women. All of these particular individuals need this act passed so that this does not cause frenzy in future elections. And as Don Lemon put it, he said that this will be the hill the Democratic Party dies on because that's what voters want in terms of this act passing. He also in the same video called the Democrats as well. He didn't say verbatim that President Biden, you are weak, but it definitely speculation. He put it in the same sentence. So we could possibly say that he comes at Democrats and Biden saying that they are weak, which is definitely a change, but he has a point. He also states that it's not necessarily their job to push the agenda of what the Democrats want. Yes, it's their job to explain it whenever they have their segments, but most of the time Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo are on late at night when most people are even going to bed. So another reason where he's like, you have to push your own agenda. You have the pulpit, you have the stage, and it needs to be done. So that was it in a nutshell in terms of why Don Lemon pretty much went off on President Joe Biden as well as the Democrats in terms of them not pushing for the votes that they sold their campaign on. So yeah, this has been another episode of It's Kai Jade. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more from me. And I'll see you on my next episode.